but only 38 months with NUE. In fact, years back, I was in the athletics world. I was a college basketball coach full-time for a few years. My brother got involved in the computer industry, and his company moved him to the West Coast. And then they said there's one opening in the branch, would you be interested? I interviewed, and they moved me to the West Coast. And for a few years, I worked for a huge billion-dollar worldwide company as an employee. Anybody relate to that at all? Everybody's been working for a large company. Did you ever, like me, get a sense that they weren't listening to you when they were making big decisions that affected your life? I got a little frustrated with that one, so went out and started a small computer systems house. Now, what that really says is I launched a company in the computer business 5 years after Bill Gates did. All similarities then right there. And for a couple of years, we ran a nice little nonprofit business.
Nonprofit organization.
In this industry in the 80s, you could adjust the dials a little bit. There was a lot of profit to be made. We did well. And we sold the company. My brother joined me in business a year later. We sold the company 10 years down the road, as there was a lot of consolidation going on. And we looked at the network marketing industry. Yes, we were actually investigating the industry, trying to find the right home. And we looked, and actually we had dabbled with a couple of companies. Anybody ever dabbled in this industry before? I like to use the word dabble. It feels better than fail. But we dabbled once. Okay, we dabbled a couple times in the industry. And then we figured out that you couldn't make it in a durable goods business. That's what we started with. It was a durable good one-time sale. You had to keep doing that over and over. There was no residual bills. So then we looked at companies that had consumable, that people would use it up, and then you had to have absolute product loyalty. Well, we landed with a company 21 years ago after a lot of investigation, and it was not NUE. It was in the nutritional field, and it was a nice run. We did well. The income was there, the lifestyle was there, it was terrific, but it was really a small company that never went large. And despite having the word international in their name, they never did really go international. And as an effect of that, about 4 years ago, that company got bought out as the sole owner was approaching 70 years old, and changes were made that affected my life. That sounded familiar to me again, right? Changes outside of my ability to control them. So we did some research, and here's what we said. My brother and I said, if we could find the perfect business opportunity, we would be willing to make a change, because frankly, 16 years doing one thing and you get into a nice little groove, all right, maybe it's a nice little rut. Can anybody relate to being in a groove or a rut in their life where they are right now? And frankly, it's just hard to get out of that rut. And so that's where we were. We were in this groove, and it was really easy. And we said, to make a change is going to be difficult, because change is, isn't it? Change is a little bit of a challenge. You have to really work on yourself to make that change. But when we found NUE, we discovered it through the eyes of 3 good friends of ours. Paige Ripple, some of you know that name, Dan McCormick, and Lon Werger, people that we'd worked with in the past. We knew them, we respected them. When we saw how well they were doing, that attracted our attention. We would at least look at the company. When we look carefully at the company, 2 things jumped out. You'll see them emphasized as we go through this quick presentation. But the 2 things that really jumped out at us were, this is a company really serious about investing in technology, research and development to lead toward new products that are innovative, that are patented, that are proprietary, that are unique, so that you have anti-aging solutions that only you can offer into the marketplace. That really was special. Now, we felt that we had come from a place of science, and in fact, we did have a significant staff with our previous company. We had 1 scientist. Part-time. She was good. And then we looked at NUE of over 100+ people, full-time, 18 different disciplines, labs in 3 places around the world, and perhaps even more important, the investment they make continually into the research through research universities. We said, here's a company that's really serious about research. The second thing that jumped out, and this I think is maybe the thing that swung us, and maybe it'll be the thing that really gets you clear about the opportunity at the end, is this. We saw a company that had $1 billion strength behind it, but we perceived it to be a startup opportunity domestically in the United States and Canada. And the reason I say that is that all the growth really has been occurring outside of North America for more than a decade. And as that was occurring, the company was going and growing and strong. yet the opportunity remains wide open here domestically. When we saw that, we could not resist, and that was just 3 years ago, and sure enough, with double-digit growth year after year, now, more than ever, we feel it's the best time to get involved, because as a company goes from small to giant in a marketplace, the opportunity for those who are participating in that growth is unbelievable. So let's get started. I'm ready if you are. If you are, say ready. Ready! So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to see here and talk about today. We went through an expansion program that took place around the world, and some of that expansion was directly attributable to a system that has been laid out called System 7. How many know that phrase, System 7? If you haven't heard about it, you will be hearing about it. It is an amazing program that clarifies, it crystallizes, it simplifies how we go about doing the business, what we do, what we say, how we act, how we work together, all of those things. The system was rolled out then here in the United States starting in February, and in North America we have really embraced this. We identified 8 cities to launch this with in February. It's now grown to 27 cities. Our anticipation is before the end of the year we'll be somewhere between 75 and 100 cities. Why is that important as the company is growing? So that just as people here can plug into a system the second weekend of July, it's usually the first weekend because the 4th of July is July 10th, just as you can plug into this fast start training here, you can have people, because it's very natural, the power of the network, right? The power of the internet, and the power of the telephone, and the power of the concept that we use, you can have people tomorrow that are in Northern California, or in Texas, or in Florida, or in New York. And as they're there, they can plug into that identical training system in each of those cities. So we started with this short group, and now, as I say, it's just kind of popping up all over the place. We continue to grow this. It's a powerful component because if you know exactly where the business is growing, you can take full advantage of that and grow your team. Let's look at the 5 key points. We're going to be very brief on a couple of these because our corporate representatives will zero in on the power of the company, the partnership of the company, and the power of the products. Scott Ferguson is just awesome when it comes to talking about the products. He's got the science. I mean, that's what he does for a living. He lives for it, but he also presents with great humor, which I really enjoy, so you're going to enjoy that. So we'll be short on those 2 components, but we will talk about the unbelievable market space that we're in right now. This anti-aging market. I mean, Nu Skin is the anti-aging company. Whether we're talking about nutrition, anti-aging from the inside out, or whether we're talking about skincare or anti-aging from the outside in, it comes together with this product line. There is no company that's even close to what we are as the anti-aging company. So we'll talk about that market, and then we'll also talk about our system, the high leverage system that we use, and then of course the timing as we move forward. Let's look first at the size and scope of the market. You know, no matter what your product or product category would be, wouldn't you want one where the trend looks like this? I mean, just think in terms of trends. How many businesses are kind of flat right now? How many businesses are going sort of backwards right now? These are the dollars spent in the anti-aging market. And look at that trend. It's just a great place to be. Hundreds of billions of dollars being spent. And why? Because the population continues to age and support that. Here are the population trends of those who reach the age of 65 and older. It's unprecedented. Never in the history of man has this ever occurred. But we're now looking at, within the next 20 years, going from 500 million to 1 billion people.